Today we have Jake and Emi of Dubuque, Iowa Clean, who found us on this very YouTube channel just a few months ago and are here to share their success, their failures, and everything in between. Today is May 20th, 2024. Let's start with, when did you guys find us?
Yeah, so I was, I don't know, reading on, I forget which subreddit, but I found a post by Rohan
Mm-hmm.
and was digging. It was one of his like 29 day or I forget how many day. And I was doing some more research and basically I didn't want to wait any more days for any more information. So I was like doing, because I wanted to get started.
Yeah.
And I found like a Facebook version of it, and then I found a Twitter version of it. And then I eventually stumbled on the YouTube page that you guys created.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw that you, Vic, had a bookable, like Calendly thing for coaching calls. I booked one for the next week.
And this was in like February,
Yeah,
right?
February
yeah,
2024. This is the important
yeah,
piece, okay? Because it's May
Yeah.
20th, 2024. So anybody watching this, because it's YouTube, you can watch this at any time.
yeah,
February to May, February, March, April, May.
yeah, yeah. So it was like a Wednesday, and I booked the intro call with you, Vic, on like that next Monday. And so in between Wednesday and Monday, I binge watched all the YouTube videos
Perfect.
on this channel, and
Yep.
I was like really ready to get things set up. Then I had the call with you, and you were like, "Yep, you can totally do this." And like literally as soon as we got off that call, I bought Convert Labs
Mhm.
and like started setting things up basically.
So you got your first 30 days free because you use the blueprint link,
Yep.
which again is below. So this is the important part because we're really bad at saying click like and subscribe and book a call and book this and do, like, we're just not in, right? You just went through the whole runaround to find the stuff because Rohan really has been teaching the stuff for 10 years and telling and showing and sharing and showing and sharing. And so the difference here is you guys did the things, because there's
Right.
lots of people that are learning but don't do the things. So let's dive in a little deeper. You did the 21-day course on your own. It's free. It's on YouTube. You could not be better students. Like, this is why I'm like, oh, this is why we do. This is why we're so happy. And I'm speaking for everyone, but I think I can safely speak for everyone that's on our team. Um, it makes us feel like what we're doing is important, right? Because we're sharing this for free with everyone around the world, going, here's the roadmap, here's the blueprint. And you guys are doing it, and it's worked.
Yeah, and like literally we just followed video by video
Mhm.
how to set things up, and like I'm like really really meticulous person, so I like took notes on every single video and like
You did
tried
the
to like
things.
follow it like
Yep.
literally word for word.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it worked. Like we had everything set up, I'd say, in Convert Labs by like March 17th. And then that's the day we like posted our first Indeed ad to start
Yep.
hiring people. And then we got our first couple cleaners all ready to go. And March 20th, we posted on Facebook, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're starting this company, like follow our Facebook page. And we
Yeah.
started advertising on Google and got
Mhm.
set up with all the things. And we started calling realtors
Yep.
like immediately. And I think we spent like 2 days calling realtors
Mm-hmm.
and ended up getting like our first like commercial property. It's like 8,000 square feet out of like just doing those calls,
Mhm.
Wild.
and got our first clients. And yeah, it all happened like really really
Really
fast.
fast. Yeah.
It happens super fast. Now, I want to preface all of this to say you're in Dubuque, Iowa, which has a population of
60,000.
60,000 people. So there's a lot of what I would call like golden horseshoes. One, you listen and you follow directions and you do the things. So you didn't try to reinvent the wheel. You turned off any entrepreneurial brain, which would be like, what about this? Which we all have, by the way. you turned that brain off and didn't reinvent the wheel. You just followed the plan. But also you did it in a location that nobody else has done this there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I do want people to really hear that, because there's a lot of people that are struggling, that are doing the things, but are in locations where they're not first. So, somebody that's in New York City, for example, or I'm going to say Boston, because that's a real example of someone in our community. I could say Los Angeles, I could say Toronto, like all of those cities, because Rohan's been sharing this for over 10 years, they all have others that got to be first. You guys got to be first in the amazing Dubuque, Iowa, which other people would ignore because they see it as too small. Right?
Well, I think that was part of the reason why we decided to go for it, is because I remember after the discovery call that Jake had with you, he was so excited because she said that this would be perfect because we were first. And I think I don't think that we were scared. I think that excited us and pushed us more,
Yeah,
because
totally.
we were super worried. Rohan talks about this all the time, and it's people invest so much money in college, but then they don't want to spend any money on a business. And that's it's so true, because we were so scared to spend the $200 on Convert Labs, or the $100 on insurance, or whatever. And
of course.
The free trials, they definitely helped. Ultimately, it came down to just kind of seeing that other people have done it, and just a little bit of encouragement. And and then once you do decide to pull that pin and say go, then you're all in. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm the back end of the business, and M's the front end. While I might be talkative to a one-on-one conversation or whatever, I'm terrible with sales. So I spent, I think, probably 200 hours ish setting up the business, and just going through every single possibility, and being super meticulous. Now, running it day to day, week to week, I spend about 8 hours on the back end per week, and then M spends
probably about 12-ish hours. Depends on the week.
That's not bad, Em. I mean, that's actually impressive, because usually it's people will kind of, when they hit go, they think they have to do everything and work really, really hard. So the fact that you're only doing 12 and 8, that's impressive. So let's dial a little, I want to dive in deep there into who's doing what and how. But before we do that, let's talk some numbers. So are you comfortable sharing numbers, where you're at as a business?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. However you see the numbers.
So for the month of April, we had $6,500 worth of revenue. For the month of May, which is this month, which we still have 10 days left, we're projected to hit $8,000 in revenue. I would say right now our net income at the end of May should be around 1,500, because we've made some I'll say learning decisions on what to do with marketing money. Because
oh man, that's a big one.
Yeah. And then we've also spent money hiring people, and tools, they cost money too. So all in all, I'd say we're at the end of May gonna end up with a net income of 1,500, which when you start doing the math in your hourly rate, right now it doesn't make sense at all. But we can see that this will scale and it will grow with putting in the exact same effort where we are right now. So we're telling ourselves we're putting in the effort now. So that way we can grow.
And this is your first true business on your own. You've worked for other people, but this is your first business on your own. So you don't know yet just how amazing it is to be profitable this fast.
Right. And we've talked to people, and it's businesses aren't profitable usually in the first year, let alone the first 2 months.
So it's not just, and I know we're always praising Rohan, and I do hope he watches this so he can see when you guys did all the different ways to find the things, because that is exactly what he's been doing for 10 years. So it's so good for him to see. But also, the whole thing that Rohan really teaches with that 30-day thing or the 21-day thing or the 27 or the 29 is it's about launching, because most people won't even launch because they'll be in their heads and not just hit launch, then growing, then scaling. So it's setting it all up from the first place so that it can grow and scale. And that's exactly what you guys have done. And that you don't need 1 million people. You don't actually, like in our business, our numbers, which you guys know, it's only 100 recurring clients. So being in a small city is not a bad thing. It can actually be a very positive thing.
I feel like our being in a small city, like it helps with our like marketing on its own, right? Like people, it's such a small world in a small city, right? Like really. I had a client the other day tell me that this realtor told her about us, and we hadn't really even talked to her. We like contacted her to let her know that we were around, and then that was it. And it got us a recurring client out of it. So it's just like small world, you know?
Yeah. And we've already got 2 recommendations from existing clients to another client. I don't know if it's as common in larger cities, but it seems like people are more willing to like at church or whatever, like, hey, this cleaning company or whatever. So
it's reputation is what it is. And you know, for the rest of us that are in a little bit larger cities, you know, we do reputation management through our reviews, right? And so we look at our Google listing matters because that's our reputation. It's what people can see who don't have a friend that can recommend them to a cleaner. So for you guys, it's being local really matters in a small city because they care about each other, as we all should in this world. But in a small city, it is actually reality on a day-to-day basis. And so totally, it makes so much sense. And your name, Dubuque, Iowa Clean. So how is the organic searches working for you? Because I will take that credit for Jen and I.
You did. Yeah, you did. Our initial name was going to be like something like Instant Clean or something like that. And
which is a fine name, but it doesn't help you.
And literally in that first call, you're like, no, you're like, don't do that. Make it like Dubuque Cleaning or something like that.
Super boring.
Yeah. And that was already taken. So we did Dubuque, Iowa Clean. And
I mean, it's the perfect name to me. It's not sexy. It's not interesting. It's perfect because people are searching Dubuque, Iowa, a cleaning company.
Yeah.
And you hand it to them on a silver platter.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And people, like going back to you said, like people care about it being local. Like we've gotten so many times asked on the phone, like, are you guys local?
Yeah.
And then there have been people that have called us that don't even know our company name. And they're like, wait, what's your company name again? And we're like, it's Dubuque, Iowa Clean. And they're like, oh, good, you're local. And like, at first, I want to know how they got our phone number without knowing our company name. But either way, it helps to be local.
Yeah.
And they probably got your number because they met somebody who said, here, give these guys a call. And that was it.
Right. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Simple works and simple sells because you're solving a very simple problem. And the simple problem is, where do I find a good cleaner?
And going to that, where do I find a good cleaner? So we followed the blueprint and we give 60% of all revenue to our cleaners. And that has helped us retain cleaners. And that has made us feel good about certain decisions that we might be maybe questioning, like, oh, well, I guess that did take a little bit longer. But then you go back and you're like, no, wait, she was making $40 an hour.
Yeah. And for somebody in Dubuque, Iowa,
right,
how do they feel about $40 an hour?
Right. Yeah. Which that's amazing.
Yeah. So that cleaner's not going to quit because you don't pay them enough.
Right.
They're going to quit because something else is going to happen in their life. And that's fine. That's predictable. But not paying them enough today, that is not a good enough reason because your business can scale and grow more as a result of having these amazing cleaners working for you.
Right. So going back to the numbers a little bit. So our spending, we have to make $3,100 in revenue to break even, basically, while we're paying our cleaners 60%.
Yep.
And that is because we're spending almost $700 on marketing right now, which is quite a bit, I think.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Maybe, I
It's
don't know.
normal,
Long
but
term.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's normal.
And then we're spending about $200 a month right now on hiring because we're having to hire more as we're growing.
Yeah.
And that's about $100 on Indeed and then $100 on background checks and DocuSign. As far as tools go, we are spending about $400 a month. A full breakdown is $25 a month on open phone, $110 a month on insurance, which is high, I
It is
know,
high.
compared to some other places. The 200 on Convert Labs, $15 a month on iPostal, which is our like PO box. $20 a month on Zapier, because I love automating.
Love a good
things.
integration.
And then we're spending $10 a month on Google G Suite and then $9 a month on Yoast SEO, which I feel like in a small town, Yoast SEO pays for itself immediately. Like we are ranking 6 in organic search results. It is crazy. Like we're almost ranking above Mary Maids, which has been here for 45 years.
Yep.
And then the only people above us are like Angie Leads, which I'll talk about them in a second. Yeah, Angie Leads, Thumbtack, and Care.com. And that's like it that rank above us. And that's in organic search results. And then in like the Google Map Pack, we're ranked number 4 right now.
You're in the same spot as us. We're ranked number 4
yeah.
for 3 years.
Yeah, which is just, Yoast SEO literally just, it paid for itself immediately. So
for those of us that use Convert Labs, Yoast is an integrated tool within Convert Labs. So you don't have to, it is already there, the free version, but the paid version is what Jake and Emi are talking about. And we pay for that as well. It totally pays for itself.
I will say with the background check, so something that we've learned the hard way is to phrase the background check as like, we require a clean background check for all of our contractors. And then I just asked, like, will that be a problem? Because I didn't one time and it came back not clean. And I mean, that could have just been solved. That could have saved us the $30 if I would have just, where I had some other conversations where then I asked, will that be a problem? And it would have been a problem. So we just stopped there, saved my money, saved their time, done. So that's something that I've learned is to just ask that simple question when explaining our policy.
So for Em, let's dive in a little deeper for you on your end, since you're front of house. So you're really me in your business, and my sister is Jake. I just love the way you guys think, because it really is so much like how Jen and I think.
Yeah.
And how we divide our business too.
Yep.
Anyway, so Em.
Yes.
Let's dive deep.
Yep.
What's the worst part?
Dealing with people. Dealing with, like, it's
you couldn't have said it better.
I mean, yeah, it's the questions and the complaints and managing schedules. That is probably the most stressful part.
And setting expectations.
In setting expectations, yes. I mean, that's
Constantly.
really, yeah, it's draining is what it is, I'll say. But talking to people and like doing the interviews and like all that, that's so easy to me. Yeah. Doing the 200 hours that Jake did, that sounds like torture,
Total torture.
So yeah, I would just say that that's probably the hardest, just dealing with the difficult clients.
People are going to people.
Yes, and they do. And they do.
And they do.
Yeah.
And this is the hardest part of the job. So for people that are watching this thinking this is easy, if you find people hard, you can't fix it by having great FAQs. Like, trust me, I have tried for 3 years to be like, how can I fine tune the frequently asked questions?
Yeah.
How can I outsource this to a virtual assistant? This is the part you cannot change. You're dealing with human beings.
We've had a few clients that have taught me very valuable lessons. I understand that it is house cleaning, right? So they expect their house to be a certain way. It's their home, it's their living space, etc. But we've had some clients that it is more difficult. I mean, like there was one that I spent an hour on the phone with this person after every weekly clean.
Oh God.
So
Mhm.
a lot of lessons were learned with that client, but
we now have processes because of that client.
Yeah,
we
do.
have this entire booking email that we send out with every single booking. Zapier helps create it, and it brings in Convert Labs things. So it's bringing in information from Convert Labs, and so it looks very, very personalized. It lists out exactly what they should expect. It has a copy of our cleaning checklist. It has our cancellation policy. It has at what time we'll be there, what extras they have. And then it also literally says in it, our cleaners are not magic. Cleaning gets better over time. And that's why we give discounts to our recurring clients. And so, and so, and I'm
Oh,
pretty
I'm
sure those
stealing
lines
that.
are, yeah, I'm pretty sure those lines are from you, Vic. But
Was that my line? I've definitely said that a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's trying to set expectations.
Yeah.
And that way, as long as everyone has the same expectations, they'll be like, yeah, you guys did a great job.
Yeah, but that is easier said than done.
Right.
The emails are great. They really are. And I'm glad that Jake was able to set them up. But then something that I've run into with our client base is a lot of them don't have emails.
Are they elderly?
Yes.
Okay, because that was the piece where I'm like, wait, are they too young that they're like emails dumb, or too old that they never got on the board? Okay.
Yes.
Too old. Oh, yeah, that is a challenge.
I can think of 3 off the top of my head. So it's like it's that common that's happening. So one of them has been great. She's a weekly. She just loves the cleaner to death. She's good.
Perfect.
But others, I could see how that's going to run into issues because they never got this. And there's only so much I can communicate over the phone with them for the cleaning checklist. And only so much that they're going to retain after me talking, so.
And all of our online tools, they require an email address to basically set up an account for that client.
They do.
So what we did is we use this tool called Email Monster, and it gives you a domain. It's like ours is at DubuqueIowaClean.emailmonster.com or something like that. And we can just create it right in Convert Labs. So say we have a client, John Smith, we just do John Smith at Dubuque Iowa Clean Email Monster, and it creates an email for them. And so then all of their accounts are linked up to that email. And it solves our issue of the client not having an email. And those emails actually get routed back to our email address.
So we get them.
So you get them, the client. So you're still solving a problem, but so this is where tech can create problems for the elderly who are not using it.
Yes.
It's a common complaint for people that have populations with a high population of the elderly.
Yeah. And
I just use my email.
Yeah. That would work too.
Yeah, but you can't use your Convert Labs. It has to be but I have a personal email and I just use that. The bigger issue there, is going to be having the cleaners that you assign to work with the elderly be your patient, kind-hearted, loving cleaners, because that's the patient's piece that they need.
Yes, and we do have one cleaner that is just great, and she is that person.
Perfect.
And I think that's another thing. I remember in the very beginning watching you, Vic, go through your Convert Labs, and you knew every cleaner, and you were like, oh no, he can't go there. Oh, she can't, whatever. And you were sorting through, and I'm like, how does she do that? And literally Jake and I were talking about this today. We were talking about a specific clean and what cleaner I was going to send. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I just have my reasons. I just know that this is the cleaner to send because this one can't, that one, no, you just, it comes easier once you get a few cleans under your belt with each cleaner.
Yeah. And someone else watching that would try to systematize it. And that's where I'm like, oh my God, please don't give me a system for how I figure out which cleaner is good at what. Sarah's good at this. John's good at this. Abraham's good at this. Just let them do what they're good at. Get out of the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good to hear. And then, God, you guys have learned so much so fast.
Yeah. So I would say another lesson learned, a huge lesson learned, something that now we champion to each other. We're like, yes, we did it. But it's do not break the rules of your business for anyone.
For anybody.
The first call we had, I was taking the call.
Mhm.
And we learned that I'm not great on the phone, but whatever. I
I
started
think you'd
like,
probably be fine.
oh,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I do all right.
you get it done.
Yeah,
It's
I get
fine.
it. I get
It's
through.
fine.
I started like being like, well, I guess we could do that. And so like the exact example was like this guy called and he started asking so many questions, which now like we've learned is kind of a red flag.
Mhm.
He's like asking for copies of our driver's license and certificate of insurance and like all this stuff.
References for each
References
cleaner.
for each cleaner we have contracting for us, and like it was just like on and on and on. And he started asking us like, well, can you do, I forget what it was.
It was some odd request. I don't remember either, but Jake was just like, I think he was feeling pressured and he was like, yeah, sure, like we can do that.
And like afterwards,
He was kicking himself.
yeah,
Like,
we're
why did I
like,
say
why did
that?
I say that? Yeah.
Because
Which
you're
happened.
human and
Right.
it's
Yeah.
going to happen because you want to
Yeah.
help people. Trust me, like I learned this lesson. I was just talking to Rich about it today. I learned this lesson over and over and over again. It was Kevin that said it in one of our group calls, and now we quote him all the time. He said, if they ask you more than 3 questions, they're probably going to be a problem. And,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
by the time you get to question number 4 or 5, you're now so invested as a human being in trying to
Right.
help
Yeah.
this person to get to, can we get a booking?
Yeah.
Right.
Can we get a cleaner? Can we get it? Can we
Right.
get to the solution?
Yeah.
But by question 4 or 5, the answer is actually this probably isn't the right fit long term
Yeah.
because you have dealt with so many different systems. You're not the first to start a cleaning company. You've learned from the best in the biz, not me, but Rohan, and then us learning from him and then sharing and continuing the sharing. That's why you don't
Yeah.
have to actually answer a million questions.
Another thing that I just thought of that happened literally this past week was Em took a booking.
I knew you were gonna say this.
And, Em took a booking and she gets off the call and she immediately calls me, and I was driving home,
Yeah.
and she's like, I made a mistake and I just need to get it off my chest. And I'm like, okay, what'd you do? And she's like, I told somebody that we could take a check. And I'm like, honey.
No.
And I was like, I don't need your feedback. I just need to tell you that I did it. It was just this very nice woman who we were talking, and it was just a great conversation. And then we got to the end, and we had already been talking for like 25 minutes at this point. And then she was like, well, I don't have a card to use. And I was like, oh no, I'm too deep now. So I had to say yes. And I felt guilty, but it happens as humans, like you said. I mean,
Ended up that she's gonna send the check before the clean. So
There you
like
go.
I did at
yeah.
least get that out of her.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, I think that we're just you just keep learning. Things keep happening.
Yeah, and it's not like getting a check. To be clear, getting a check is not the problem. It's whether or not the check is going to clear that is the problem.
Yes.
And it's adding more time to your workload, which stops you
Yes.
from being able to grow and scale. It's not the check
Yes.
that is the problem. It's the growing and scaling. And
Yes.
that's why we use Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and
Yeah.
Stripe, because we can grow and scale. So I do want to be
Because-
clear there. And I've done exactly the same thing, by the way.
Yeah, it takes a half an hour to process a check. It takes a half an hour of my time because I have to
Go to
do
the
the
bank.
mobile deposit, which that's like what, 3 minutes? Okay. But then I have to then make sure it clears, and
Make
then
sure it clears.
on the back end on bookkeeping, like it's not super simple. It like it just it ends up being about a half hour every single check we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you grow and scale, and this is what Jen and I talk a lot about ourselves, is, then you end up getting these big commercial clients, which is happening faster for you guys. And then how do they want to pay? 30 days net terms and then check in the mail. So now you're talking like months before you have actual money in the bank, but you can't make your cleaners wait. Well, you can try, you won't keep your cleaners. And many do. They're like, oh, I just don't pay the cleaners until I've gotten paid. Like, well, good luck.
Right. Yeah. And I would say starting up, we really tried to prioritize being super fair to our cleaners and paying them immediately. So I would say if we didn't take on a commercial client right away, we could have started this business comfortably with about $2,000.
Isn't that wild?
Right. But we immediately took on a commercial building, That's 8,000 square feet, and they weren't able to get us a check until like 2 weeks later.
So you had
Um,
to bankroll some.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we ended up we're probably, I don't know, $6,000 to $8,000 of our own money in because we had to, yeah, pay our cleaners to go do that commercial building. Now, granted, we know we're making that money back,
Hmm.
but
It's just floating a little bit.
it's exactly what you said. Those commercial
Mhm.
buildings, like you need to kind of build that up or
Mhm.
just not take them right away.
And it's
So,
hard when you're starting out to not take opportunities that land in your
right,
lap like that,
right.
right? It's
Yeah.
very hard to start saying no. But here's my other question for you there. Is that commercial contract safe and secure in that you know that they're not going to go bankrupt and not being able to pay their bills?
Yes,
Yes, they are
they
the largest property management company
in
in
Dubuque.
our
They
area.
have
Yeah.
millions of square feet of property that they own in the area. They
Yeah.
just happened to purchase this new building and wanted to try somebody new, not put all their eggs in one cleaning company basket. So
Yeah.
yes, it was very secure.
Right.
So I think that also made us feel better. It was like a well-known company. It wasn't just some rinky-dink company contacting us.
We had a similar experience where very well known and did go bankrupt, and we found out by it being announced in the newspapers.
Oh, jeez.
And I
Wow.
had been chasing them for payment, which was, and luckily it was only 3 grand. But I had been chasing them for payment, and I was like, I just don't feel good about this. Like,
Mhm.
and then I got the news, and I was like, Jen, you're gonna kill me. She's like,
Yeah.
should have said no.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we
Yeah.
did end up, they did pay us, I think, $1,600. But anyway, just saying, residential, getting that machine going and working is a good, safe, secure bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to pause just real quick. I want to plug in our laptop.
I just love,
Yes.
it's so funny watching you guys because there's quite a few married couples that start these businesses, and they have to kind of divide it. Like, you don't have both of
Yes.
you answering the phone. I haven't met anyone that's both of them are trying to do the same role.
Yeah.
It'll be hard.
Jake and I, we work really well because we have very different strengths.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the behind the scenes stuff, not my thing. Not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And yet, and he can talk to the people and he does fine, but it's just, he doesn't like it. It's draining for him,
Yeah. It's a bit
so.
like that introvert, extrovert, like Jen's an introvert. She can be extroverted when she has to be.
Mhm.
Right. So like Jake, I bet, is more, although he doesn't
Yes.
seem introverted at all, but most people wouldn't know Jen was an introvert.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I'm an ambivert, so I need a lot of alone time in order to do what I do as an extrovert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say that too. Like my social battery, it needs
Yeah.
to like recharge.
Yeah.
And Jake doesn't really have that because it kind of just recharges on his own,
Because of his behind the scenes thing. So he probably is just always like, right. It makes
Yes.
sense. So you also had a list, Jake, of things you wanted to talk about. Have we managed to cover most of the things that you wanted to talk about? I want to make sure that
I
because you had
guess, yeah, one
One
thing that
last
we
thing.
haven't covered
Perfect.
is poor spending decisions.
Yes, let's
So,
dive deep.
yes. So we spent probably about $500 on flyers. Not a very smart decision.
Where did that idea
So
come from?
uh entrepreneurial brain, as you mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's
Honestly,
okay.
like, yeah, we were trying like that first couple weeks, you've got these cleaners and
Yeah.
they are like
Give me
we had
work,
one
give me work, give me
cleaner
work.
that, yes, they were pressuring us basically. They're like, hey, we want more like cleans, like
Yep.
give us more,
Yep.
feed us. And we're like, we need to somehow generate
More
leads
business.
and more
Yeah.
business.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we were trying to capture the entire like job market because like only so many leads get generated per day, we've basically learned,
Mhm.
and they get kind of scattered out to the
Yep.
various businesses.
Mhm.
And we were trying to ensure we were capturing as much as possible. So we did spent like $500 on flyers that we handed out to realtors. I literally walked around with our daughter and went door to door handing them out. Yep.
And then no real traffic came as a result of that. Now, I will say, you did say at the beginning of this call that somebody just had your phone number and didn't have anything else. That's where a flyer and then a conversation happens with their friends. Oh, hey, call this number. I happen to have it on my fridge, right? So it's not, I know it feels wasted, but it's just money you don't need to spend in that way. You could put that towards Google Ads and probably, or Google, whatever, whether it's Thumbtack or Bark or whatever.
I also think a lot of the realtors, like when we were calling realtors at first, were like, oh, can you drop off flyers at the office? And I think we were like, oh yeah, cool, we'll order a bunch. And we probably could have just sent digital ones for them to email out. So I think that was like, we were so excited because they wanted it.
But whatever, you learn the things. You got to learn the things.
Yeah. And another poor spending decision was we spent about $500 in Google Ads in 1 week.
That's easy to do.
That was
it's so easy to do.
Painful. And like, yes, it generated traffic to our website.
Yeah.
But there's like a saturation point, kind of as I mentioned before, like you can only generate so much business so quickly off Google Ads, I feel. Maybe we're just doing it wrong. I have learned a little bit about Google Ads where maybe we could spend a little bit more and actually get a return, but it's not something that I think paid off.
And that was pay per click?
Yes.
Or pay per like actual lead, like not Google local services, but pay per click.
Yeah, it was pay per click.
Yeah, and you're not alone in that. Everybody I've talked to in the last 6 months in the community has found that it's very much a long game for pay per click. It doesn't immediately translate, and so it might, it may change over time. But yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Another thing that we spent money on that I complain about every single day, is Angie leads.
Yeah.
In our area, I don't know how other locations are. It is the biggest pain in my butt. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I will advise any business owner, if you get contacted by Angie services, Angie leads, anything owned by Angie, just do yourself a favor and tell them no.
Yeah. I mean, on my end, like it causes me a lot of stress, honestly, because it comes in on our open phone and email or something. I don't know. All at once. I mean, my phone just blows up. Yeah. And then I have to like drop everything and call this person right now to even get a chance to retain them. And seriously, 9 times out of 10, they don't answer ever. Wow. So it stresses me out for no reason. And we have gotten no leads from Angie leads.
Yeah. You've gotten leads, no conversions.
Oh, sorry. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. Yes. No business from the leads. So yeah.
So you have to pay. What I don't like about Angie leads is you have to pay a subscription, which is $300 a year, to then pay for leads, which are comparable price to GLS, Thumbtack, or any of the others. And I like, we don't mind Thumbtack, we don't mind GLS, but Angie has all of these requirements. Like you have to call them within 15 minutes. And you have to call them like so many times a day. And you're supposed to call them 3 times the first day, 2 times the next day, and then once a week. Once a week. Like that. Yeah. And like they have
old school marketing.
Yeah.
It's old.
It's yeah.
Yeah. And it was probably new. I don't know when it started, but I know, within our community, people have been complaining about it forever.
So if anybody's watching this video and Angie calls you after you set up your business, tell them no.
Say no. Just say no.
That's hilarious. So then what is actually converting? So let's get into that. And Juan just asked that as well in the community. What are you spending your money on in terms of advertising? Because you did say you're spending, what did you say? It was 700?
Yeah, about 700. So we're spending about $150 a month on Google Ads.
Yeah.
And we're actually starting to get online bookings that are being tracked through Google Ads. So we're actually seeing conversions. Like I think we've had 6 online bookings in the past 20 days, which is uh,
The
amazing.
best.
In your
Like,
first off, in your first year to get online bookings is amazing. In your first 2 months, like
right.
that's
Yeah.
great.
And then we're spending about $150 a month on Google Leads. And those are, the kind of ebb and flow. We are the only person, we're
When
the
you
only,
say Google Leads, sorry to interrupt, it's Google Local Services is what you're talking about, where you pay the 25 or 40 or 50 or whatever it is in your city. It's where you pay for the lead.
yes, yep.
Okay.
And we are paying for them to call us, which
Yeah.
is a huge difference from others. Like Thumbtack, you pay for their phone number, kind of, or the
Yeah.
ability to message them.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of bidding against other cleaning companies,
Yep.
where Google Local Services is they are calling you. So it's like it's your lead,
Mhm.
um,
Yep. And they
which
charge you as
is
soon as you answer the phone or not answer or whatever, right?
right,
Mhm.
right. And we are the only cleaning company using Google Local Services in the Dubuque area. So so it's
Money
like
well spent.
yes,
Yeah.
it's money well spent. And even if they're not clicking call, we're still appearing higher. We're the first result on house cleaner search, no
Mhm.
matter what.
So what happened in real world, the customer Googles cleaning companies near me, Google kicks in and says, here, Dubuque, Iowa cleans. And then they have a phone number. And then from the customer's point of view, if they're anti Google, because when they go to click, it says Google will record this call.
Mhm.
And then when they make the phone call, Google repeats it again. So there are people that are like, no, and they're going to shut that down. Then they're going to literally keep looking and they're going to find you fourth and be like, oh, there they are. There's their number and call you.
Mhm.
You
Right.
see what I mean? So like there's weird workarounds where people figure out who you are and all of them matter for 2 years down the line when you're billing the real numbers
We're unfortunately right now spending $150 on Angie leads.
because you have to, because you're sucked
You're right.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
You're trapped.
we're trapped for a year.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, you poor
we could
thing.
just shut it off and cut our losses, but like we haven't got that far yet, I guess.
And future you from past you would have asked the community, hey, guys, what's your experience with? And
Right.
then you would have saved yourself this headache because
Yes.
I can guarantee our community has your back because if anybody has a bad experience with anyone, we all hear about it.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay.
That's such a good point. The
Yeah.
community, like the online forum, you can just search for things. You can search for almost any tool and it'll pop up and like you can hear at least somebody else's opinion on it.
Yeah, and you can disagree with them. You can be like, nah,
Right.
they're not right. Like that, like nobody. We're all just running our own businesses, sharing our stuff together. So you kind of asked before, like, is 700 a lot? I will say to you, we've spent in total $14,000 on advertising, and we're now billing between about 600 and 700 a K without making any major changes to how we operate things. It's continuing to grow. It's steady. It's not fast like it was our first year. First year was really fast, like you guys. But second year, we started to dial back how intensely I'm answering everybody's questions because I realized, oh, wait, they're not ideal clients. So we refocused our effort.
But that's our goal is to eventually try to scale back our marketing
Yes.
spend.
Yeah. And I mean, it's effort. It's time. Everybody will tell you that, but you guys are knocking it out of the park. And 700 is very normal per month. Usually for those that I've seen anyway in the last 3 years that I've been in this world, what I've seen is usually between $500 and $1,000 is what typically people will spend in their first year. There's the exception to the rule. There's Daniel. We've got the hot seat call, but he's an SEO specialist. So that is his so he doesn't spend a dime on advertising. He's still in year one of his business, but that is the exception to the rule. You have to be very good at SEO to not spend a dime. And
Sure.
that's where we are now. And we're still we don't know what we're doing, but we'll ask Daniel. We'll ask the community and be like, can somebody else teach us how to do this better? Because as I said to you, we're in the 4th position on the Google Maps.
And I mean, when you Google your name and you pop up, it feels amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, is there any other like really bad experiences we've had that we want to share?
The only other thing for me on my end, like being like the front end, we had a pretty bad cleaner experience.
Mm.
Um, and on paper, this cleaner looked amazing.
Yep.
Like she was going to be the savior of our company. We were going to send her to all the cleans to begin with, like whatever. So just thing after thing happened. She couldn't make it. She was canceling last minute. And my gut told me right as the first excuse she made, no, it could have, what happened to her could have happened to anyone. And I get
Sure.
it. But my
Yeah.
gut just told me something was off.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Jake was like, no, just give her a chance.
He's just
I
like Jen.
mean,
Jen would have done the exact same thing.
oh my gosh. And I listened to him because I'm like, it's fine. Like that could have happened to anybody.
Mhm.
Excuse after excuse. And then she had a 3 clean day and she didn't show up to any of them and still has yet to answer my call or text. And it's been over a month at this point
Yeah.
about
Basically just ghosted us.
just completely ghosted us. Never, she only did 1 clean for us and we had to re-clean it because I don't know if she necessarily did bad or
That client was also a
miscommunication.
problem client.
Yeah. So
Right. So it was,
I don't know
yeah.
whose fault it was, but either way, she only did 1 and it ended up costing us a lot of money to even have her. So my lesson learned in that was if people are going to show you who they are, listen. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh,
it is,
right.
it is what it is. I mean,
Vic, your quotes, they will live on forever.
yeah.
I remember Oprah quoting that person and then that somebody said that exact line
Yeah.
and I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it from you. Yeah, it's true. And I think, I mean, she was throwing up red flags and she was our first hire. And again, everything looked perfect on paper and she was very nice on the phone. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's just not how it always is sometimes. So that would have been like my
Mm.
lesson is just, it's going to be okay. I was like in denial that it wasn't going to work out and it's fine. There's going to be more cleaners.
This is the hard part of the job.
Yeah.
You know, it's that you're dealing with human beings that are going to be challenging.
We have a cleaner now that we just hired and she's great, but she's been like pressuring us to, she has a family and so she's like, I need as many jobs. And it's kind of a battle of like, I need to be fair to the other cleaners. I can't just hand everything off to you because there's other people relying on this too. So yeah, it's just finding that balance too, between all the cleaners.
It is, and then not hiring too many cleaners. And there's a sweet spot, and you will
Yes.
eventually find it. For us, it's taking 2 to 3 bookings a day, hiring 1 to 2 cleaners a month. So we don't actually want 10 bookings today. We've had days. We had one day where we got 27 bookings.
Whoa.
That was a pretty fun day.
Mhm.
But that is not the norm. The norm is 2 to 3 bookings a day. And if you average it out in your month, if you are continually taking 2 to 3 bookings a day, you will grow at the same rate we're growing, which is steady. It is not manic. I'm not overly stressed. I didn't want to replace a day job with another stressful day job that I now own, right? Like, so I wanted to replace a day job with a steady income stream without the stress levels of working for someone else. And we've done that. So I have to remind myself of this. So it's 2 to 3 bookings a day, 1 to 2 cleaners a month. And if we stick to that, everything's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When I
that's
overhire,
so true. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if you have too many cleaners, it's way more stress for you because you
Yeah.
got to get more bookings. But if you just have one cleaner, you're going to get enough bookings to fill their schedule. And everything will grow at the right rate.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And that's like this cleaner, like we told her, like we're exactly what you said. We're taking about 2 clients on average per day. And it's going to take about a month and
Yep.
your schedule will be full.
Yep.
But you just have
But
to
you
like,
have,
wait.
yeah, you have to wait that month.
You do.
And unfortunately, she like quit her second job or didn't quit, but it
Yeah.
fell through. And then,
Now
is
it's
now
become
trying
your
to
stress.
solely rely on us. And
Yeah.
it's just a tough situation.
So what I do with those is I send them to housekeeper.com. She can register with them for free as a house cleaner. She now has a criminal background check. She's done that with you. She has references because she gave you references. She wouldn't get through the door if she didn't do that. And she's a good cleaner. She's proven herself. All she has to do is create a profile on there. People that are looking to hire a cleaner directly will go there. Or Facebook Marketplace. Housekeeper.com feels a little safer for those people. So that's where they're going to go. So she can find her own clients. And in fact, you encourage her to do that because she's an independent contractor, which is what your model is. So that's exactly what I do. And then they go off, they get their own clients, and then they'll say, hey, I can no longer work Thursdays. No problem. Mark it off in Convert Labs. Now I know you don't work Thursdays. Great. I never invite the cleaner on Thursdays. Easy solution. Yep. She has to do a little bit of work on her own, but it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So before she met you, that's probably what she should have been doing, but she maybe was just going through her friends or having an employer or something. Yeah. Is there anything that you guys are thinking of where you're like, man, I wish I had known this?
I guess one more thing. The last thing on our list that we wanted to talk through was how me and Em stay in sync with each other. So we run this business together. As we mentioned, I put in about 8 hours a week and puts in about 12 hours a week. And we also have a very busy life outside of this schedule or outside of this business. And we have to stay on the same page because if a client calls and like Em can't take it, but somebody needs to take it. So I'll pick up the phone and I need to know like the last conversation that was had and like where, and just like cliff notes on like where things were left off with this person.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we use Open Phone, which that records every call and gives you a call summary. We also have that linked to HubSpot, which is a client relationship management tool, a CRM or customer relationship management, CRM. We have that linked to HubSpot, and we have it also linked to this software. It's called Todoist, which it's literally just a to-do list. And those are all connected with like Zapier. And basically there's to-do items. Like if we get a new lead, it automatically creates a Todoist task to follow up with them every single week until they book. If we get a new booking, it automatically creates a task to confirm their booking either via text or email or call them. It creates one that it takes their booking date and then creates a Todoist task on that booking date to then follow up with them after their first clean. And then it creates one 3 months out to follow up with them to see if they want to book any extras with us. So like, hey, you've been with us now for 3 months. Are you interested in an oven cleaning? Or are you interested in getting your windows done? And we even like kind of have some recommendations we set up. Like we recommend getting your oven cleaned twice a year. And your windows cleaned like every other month or whatever. And that kind of like helps add value to like each customer, because then you start breaking down your customers, like how much did it cost to acquire this customer versus how much of the lifetime value they are. And then going back to HubSpot. So HubSpot syncs with our email and our Open Phone. So I can quickly pull open HubSpot on my phone while I'm on the phone with them and see, okay, Em sent them an email earlier today, and I can quick pull that open in HubSpot. And then they also had a text conversation yesterday, and I can just see all of that right in HubSpot.
Right.
And so between Todoist and HubSpot, I can quickly get up to speed on where that client is at if we provided them with any quotes or anything like that. And like, this is all extra stuff that we wouldn't have to do if we didn't really care about making sure we're in sync. Because I could literally just ask them like, hey, like,
what's going on?
Sorry, you last talked to my wife.
Yeah.
But to make it seem like more seamless and like a more professional business or whatever, that's just something we've done. And Zapier costs $20 a month to do all of that. So And I personally really like automating things. So it was fun for me to set up essentially.
Now, if you already know how to use all those things, great. Use the things that work. For those of us that are not as tech savvy, here's what we do. We write notes in the notes.
Right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So client phones, it's inside ConvertLabs. ConvertLabs already texts them and emails them and reminds them. The main thing there is you do what works best for you so that your marriage, which is what this is, and business relationship can work seamlessly without the tension of you didn't tell me X, Y, or Z.
Right, right. And also whenever M tells me she has a problem, so like I try I try to figure out a software way to fix it.
And Emma's like, just stop talking.
Yes. I'm like, can you just listen to my problem and not try and like think of ways to fix it? Just let me vent.
So M was complaining that it takes too long to type in notes. And so I'm like, I can figure out a way that it will automatically just happen. And so now, yeah, I mean, M only has to put in 12 hours a week, and that's literally all on the phone. Like you don't really spend any admin time really at all.
Sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's I mean, these are good systems to have, and they're scalable because when you need to add somebody to your team, if you decide to go that route, you don't have to. But if you decide to hire a VA or somebody because M wants to do something else or whatever, you've set up the systems in place. So it's all good stuff. Like it's just, if you don't know how to do those things, don't do those things. You don't need
right.
100%.
Yeah. And again, it's not, those things aren't necessary for sure. Just
with
like,
our lifestyle.
Yeah. Again, with our lifestyle and with what I like to do. It's what we set up. Yeah.
Well, and I will add on to that, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. So we have our Millionaire Mastermind group, which you guys, you haven't come to watch one. I don't think I've invited you yet, but I will. So Millionaire Mastermind was a group of us that formed through the community. We kind of met each other and we're like, oh, you're billing 50K a month. I'm billing 50K a month. We should talk. And then it turned into very organically a group of amazing people that get together once a month and we share our stuff. That's basically what happens. For 1 hour, one Monday a month, we sit around on a Zoom call and everybody shares what they're struggling with, what they're doing well with, because we know this is the magic of our business, sharing what works, sharing what doesn't work. It saved us years and thousands of dollars. And so one of the topics that's coming up is automations. And we're doing SEO. It's in June, we're doing an SEO call with Daniel because I already asked him. And then the next one, we're going to do automations. And this will literally be those that love the automations will be sharing their screen with those of us like me that are like, just pick up the damn phone and have the conversation. You know?
Yeah.
It's easier sometimes to just pick up the phone and say, yo, what's up? What's happening? What are you mad about? But anyway, so that'll be a really good call. And it's also a good motivator for you because the conditions to join the Millionaire Mastermind are you're billing 50K a month and you're transparent and you will share your stuff with other people and show up. It's free. We don't charge any fees for it because we are genuinely all there to learn from each other.
Yeah. And if anything, we want to be there to get more of your quotes.
Yeah. We need more Vic quotes.
that I've ripped off other people, which is amazing. And it is so funny because I know exactly what it's like to be in your shoes and to be remembering the things that you hear from the videos because of watching Rohan. And Jen and I would say to each other, no, remember Kevin said, or Rohan said. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, we're listening to them because it worked for them.
Yeah.
Right.
And when we listen to the entrepreneurial brain, that brain, creative people, if you don't have creative problems to solve, you will find problems to solve that don't exist.
Well, I mean, we were just complaining yesterday or something. Like we were looking at the schedule for this week and it's like, man, I wish we had more bookings for that cleaner that was asking for more. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, we're complaining about having this problem, but if we didn't have that problem, we would be complaining that we don't have another cleaner because all of our other cleaners are busy.
Yeah. And it's a great problem to have. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it will happen. This is the nature of the business. You will reach a point where you don't have enough cleaners. And then you'll remember, oh, wait, I need to hire 1 to 2 cleaners a month and take 2 to 3 bookings a day.
Yep.
You guys, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of Kevin and Rohan for sharing it. And I mean, first off, Rohan a gazillion years ago sharing that that Reddit post. He didn't need to do that. He found success. He could have just done it by himself and never shared it.
Yep.
Right. And instead he went, okay, I'm going to share this and let's see. And then other people were like, oh man, that guy's right. And then, right. And so the magic of the internet, we've never met in person. Here we are.
Right.
Yeah. Crazy.
Right. So I'm so proud of you and thank you for sharing with us and for taking the leap on strangers you met on YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.